often when you hear that somebody has committed suicide, the first thing people be saying is depression is real. So people generalize the cause of suicide to be depression, but that's not entirely true. Many times when you meet anybody who is appearing or expressing hopelessness, helplessness, and worthlessness, those three things, hopelessness, helplessness, and worthlessness, many a times that person is not far away from the thought or act of suicide. Even if you find yourself there, where you are hopeless, helpless, and worthless, there is still room for help. You have a chance to reach out, talk to somebody.
Different types of abuse, because just cause somebody to
yes, and that we will want to look at it more when dealing with the historical causes. Because you realize, like domestic abuse, when a child is abused, sodomized, raped, though the child may live after the act, but the trauma will be haunting the child and often provoking the child to do something because they feel hated, they feel abused, they feel worthless. So we want to look at it this way. In Kenya currently, the number one cause of suicide is gambling. As we speak right now, the government is being pushed by people online to try and intervene on this aspect of gambling, because somebody will take rent and somebody will take school fees and try to place a bet, gamble, and he will lose everything. Today, if you looked at the social media space, people have testimonials of cousins, nephews, parents who have lost money and committed suicide. Today in Kenya, the number one cause of suicide is gambling. So, and it's not only a Kenyan problem, because as you also check in other places, you realize where people are looking for quick money. And these are where gambling website offering you to double your money, and you take your life savings, you put in there, and they are swallowed.
So the society has idolized money so much that it is all about money. If I do not have money, then I have nothing. And so I can do, I will do anything to look for money. So the little money that you get, you have a hope that I'll go and gamble. But more often than not, you end up
losing
consuming it all and looking for more and consuming it and getting into debt. Then you end up saying, no more.
So now with the gambling, there will come debt. With the debt, there will become depression. Then people will begin running away from people. Because you owe me, I owe the other, you owe the other person, you owe the other person. So you become disconnected from people. Then you keep on trying to chase what you lost. Hoping that I put in 1,000. If I could go get 2,000 and bet again, I will get 4,000. I will pay the other bet and pay the other one. So you keep on going deep into debt. So we are really praying. If you are there and probably you are really struggling with the addiction to gambling, please reach out for help.
You get into debt such that you cannot socialize anymore.
Very true.
You are borrowed from everybody. Even if a friend reaches out to you for other reasons, you will dodge. You are walking on the street and you see somebody coming, you dodge. And it goes on, and then you end up, you can't live anymore.
Good.
Yeah.
Then we have also what you had mentioned a little bit earlier, the stressful events of life, especially those that happen suddenly. You know, there are things like failure in a final exam. There are young kids who have sat for an end of primary school exam and failed. We discussed a little bit earlier on the discipline of handling failure.
Yeah.
So somebody will go into an exam room expecting to, after 8 years or 4 years of sitting in the classroom, and they fail. So failure of a final exam could trigger somebody to think that I am a failure.
Yes, and more so because also our parents are expecting too much of that child.
Mm-hmm.
It's either you fail or you pass or you pass. There is no other option but you must pass. So when you reach a point when you have failed, then you have failed your parents, you have failed the society, you have failed, you are no longer worthy to live. Yeah.
So, and it's an era in our generation. As we raise our children, we should not attach their whole person to an exam certificate, so that when they fail an exam, they think they have failed in life completely. So the worth of our children is not entirely on a certificate.
No.
The worth of a child is not entirely on how he performed or she performed in sports.
Yeah.
Even if they failed in an area and they properly flopped, it is just part of life. We have failed many times, but we fail, we learn, we grow, we become better.
Yeah.
And I remember in the story of Pastor Antoinette, she said that the daughter was complaining
that she expected the children to be perfect. She is a perfectionist. So she drove her children to try to be like her until she realized, and she discussed with her daughter, and she said she freed her from.
Good.
Yes.
And so sometimes we don't even know until we have such kind of conversations. That's when you realize how I had been treating my children could actually be driving them a wrong route.
Yeah, sometimes we parents have set standards that are beyond our children.
Good.
What I am able to achieve is not necessarily what my child is able to achieve. So I should not measure my child's achievement by my standards.
Very true.
And then I do not give space for the child to speak or to argue out regarding what I expect. And this is particularly for our society. It is what I have said and nothing else.
What I
say
is
law. Tries to say something, you are being disrespectful.
One man said, when he was growing up, Daddy said, in this house, you eat, you listen, you sleep, you don't ask, you don't comment, you don't say anything, you eat, you listen, you obey, and sleep. So you're ending up with young adults who have a desire to express themselves, but they are locked in.
Yeah.
So that failure in an exam, expulsion from a college or even the military.
Yeah.
The people who went to college and they misbehaved, they were expelled. So because of that expulsion, the person feels I failed daddy, I failed mom, I failed society, I failed myself. And they ended up taking their own life. Yeah. Things like somebody has an accident, was full-bodied, then has an accident and loses an arm. This person loses maybe sight. It's something that happens suddenly. You are walking properly, then the next month somebody's on a wheelchair. And this kind of stressful life events that come suddenly, unexpected, if there is no proper therapy that somebody's been able to be trained, to be taught, it is part of life. Some things happen unexpected. And if somebody does not process that, even a miscarriage, somebody could be carrying a child for 6 months, then ends up with a miscarriage. Those kind of things, if not well treated through therapy, somebody is able to walk with you through that journey. It is possible that somebody can be driven to a path of self-destruction.
Yeah, and human nature is people are close to you only when you are useful to them.
Good.
The moment you get to a point when you may not be useful, and I'm quoting, when they perceive that you may no longer be useful, friends also run away from you. And that is the point when you really need people near you.
Very true.
That the society is such that at that point you will not see anybody.
Wow.
You are left with nothing and nobody, and just to think suicidal.
Wow. Then if you realize there are so many men and boys committing suicide. So there's this aspect of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Although according to statistics, many women attempt suicide, but it is many more men who complete the act.
As you know, as women, sometimes I attempt to draw your attention because I have been trying to talk to you, to get your attention, and you are not. Yeah, so I do attempt, not because I really want to complete. A lot of us, we do things at the spur of the moment. But for a man, and the expectations of society towards men is that I will be quiet, I will pent up emotions until it explodes.
Very true.
And when it explodes, I just do it.
It can be very destructive.
To the end. I don't attempt. I do it. Yeah, so it is also very important that we take care of our male partners. Very true. Our children, our sons, our male friends,
others, our brothers,
our spouses. We ought to know this and take care of them.
Society has wanted to paint a picture of a man which is not genuine, which is not real. You are told, as a man, you don't cry. As a man, you're not meant to fail. You are the head, you are the leader, which is quite true. But we need to train our boys to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Our men to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That it is okay to fail.
It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry.
Yes.
It's okay to open up.
Yeah. It's okay to say, I'm going through such a thing.
It's okay not to be okay.
For your mental well-being,
yes,
you need to speak.
Good.
To paint out the emotions. Do not let them stay inside you until it bursts.
So that's why you will find the boys who are going through some struggles, they will tend to affiliate themselves to a gang. They want to just find a people who will encourage them. You are a man, be strong, be tough. Do not feel weak. Show up, don't cry, don't. Be a man.
Be a man.
So it is still promoting that fake masculinity. Instead of being genuine, open, talk to somebody, say, bro, I'm hurting. Mom, I'm going through pain. Daddy, please, I've been trying to process this. At school, I'm being bullied. I'm having a problem in my adolescence. I'm trying really to understand life and have somebody walk with you through that journey.
Yeah, And it's true, even at young age, your parents tell boys don't cry. You don't. So they grow up with that.
With that understanding.
Yeah. How about cultural expectations like forced marriages and things like that? That is all under this.
It should, because it's a social factor. You don't want to get married to this family, this man. In fact, there are families in Africa, in Kenya, where they will discuss your marriage, they will exchange dowry, and they will just transport you to the man.
Arranged marriage.
It's an arranged marriage.
Yes. And there are also expectations, societal expectations that when a lady reaches a certain age, they should be married. And when you're not married, then there is something wrong.
Good.
Yeah.
But that kind of societal pressure, there's a lot of pressure in society that you are age 30, you are now 35, and you are not married, you don't have a child, So that kind of pressure, even now you went to school, you should be having a house, your colleagues are driving.
Yes, you've mentioned something. Okay, sometimes I'm married, but I've stayed several years, I have not conceived a child.
Good.
Again, there's so much pressure. My mother-in-law, my mother, my own mother, I want grandchildren.
Yes.
This is something out of it's not within your
ability.
Yes. So if you put pressure on somebody, you're pushing that person to commit suicide.
Very true.
To kill themselves.
And people don't know this. They may be pushing you unknowingly to your death. This person is married 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. They got no child. They are also frustrated.
Yes, exactly.
Because naturally you would have expected to be having children. So personally, I am frustrated. Then you begin adding more pressure to me.
Yeah.
It will drive me crazy. But again, we are talking to somebody. In case you are there and you are being put under this kind of pressure, please live your life and trust God.
Yeah, and look for a space where you can air your views freely and vent your frustration. Do not keep it to yourself.
Then we have an issue like our religious organizations, churches, because we would expect the church in this instance to be a center of hope. So the failure of our, especially churches, where now a place where we would have gone when we are weak, broken and bleeding, and be medicated in a way, you go sit down, listen to something that will heal your heart. Now, when the place is commercialized and we become blind to the weak, the broken and the bleeding, then these people don't find solace again in the church.
Yeah.
So we really have to find, wherever you are, in case you are in the religious space, in the church space, we need to work out at creating the church as a center of hope.
A center of hope. I am sorry to say this, but a lot of churches focus more on people who have money and people who are able to pay tithes and pay the offertories, where and they do not know that the Lord came for the
to seek the weak, the lost, the broken, the bleeding.
Yes. So again, we are getting out of our judgment, our spiritual mandate.
Very true.
Yes.
Because in this battle with suicide and the general mental health issues, I strongly believe the church has a big role to play. So if we are going really to arrest this situation, the clergy will need to get involved. and maybe you are listening to this and you are part of the clergy, please do your part. And if you could also invite us into your space, we'd also want to come and share with your people these things. Bring us on your platforms. Let us talk to your people and probably help the congregations to become brothers keepers and avert this condition and save many lives.
Yes, in as much as we know you need money to run the church, please look after the weak and the lowly.
Wow, so we have a lot to capture, but we need to look at also the health factor.
Exactly.
The health factor or the medical contributors to
suicide. Yeah.
You realize that when the health factors, when people have physical pain, somebody has cancer, and the person is in physical pain, people will often think that I would rather just die. I know of a case where somebody had a throat cancer, and in the last stages, they found him having consumed poison. And he put out a note and says, I could not just bear the pain any longer. So when somebody is in physical pain, serious physical pain, that is a case to be looked at very closely, because probably the person could be thinking about terminating their life.
Yeah.
When people have also brain injury, when people have a traumatic brain injury, many times, even of these other things we're going to talk about, mood disorders, psychotic disorders, anxiety disorders, they would often begin with an injury in the brain, some of them. When somebody has an injury, maybe fell, had an accident, something struck them on the head, some of them develop mild to severe mental complications. And we have things like substance abuse, alcohol, bang, heroin, meth, all these things. When people get into it so much, it distorts their perspective of life. So I know of a case in Nakuru here in Kenya of a young boy who 4 months ago actually killed himself. And the reason was he was addicted to alcohol too much and kept on fighting with the parents here and there. So this child went, smoked bang, and was out of the mind. Then we just found him hanging outside.
Yeah, and the society should know that addiction there's a cause for addiction.
Very true.
Somebody doesn't go to addiction because they want it.
No.
There's something that pushes
them into that addiction.
So instead of ostracizing the addicted, we should look for ways to help this person.
Good.
We should continue to love this person. Yeah. We do not push this person to end their life.
And even the case of Nakuru, going back to the primary cause, there was a separation between the parents.
Yes.
And he was raised by the mother alone and had conflict, including verbal exchanges with the father, a lot of them. So that broken home broke the child up.
Yes, and most cases sons really have vacuum when the fathers are not there.
Good.
They really long for that father figure. And when they miss the father figure, they have to replace it with something else. And such are the things that push them to alcoholism, to drug addiction, to do many other things.
Sure.
So it is not their fault.
Very true.
Yeah, the society ought to know this.
Good. Now, when we looked at the pain, we looked at the traumatic head injury, we're looking at substance abuse. But now the elephant in the room is mental health.
Mental health, yes.
And when you're looking at mental health, we could also maybe branch it down to mood disorders. Mood disorders are those conditions that significantly and persistently disrupt a person's emotional state.
Yeah.
So that the way the person feels is disconnected from reality.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could be feeling hated, rejected.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody feels unloved, but the feeling he or she has is not the reality in the outside world.
Yeah.
And this is where we have, maybe for the sake of time, we have bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
We also have depression.
Mm-hmm.
Depression is a common thing now, that persistent feeling of sadness. Somebody feels withdrawn and sad, and often with a low interest in normal life.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is withdrawn, somebody is just sad. You can't explain the sadness. It's coming out of somewhere. Maybe you are rejected. Maybe you are hurt. Maybe you saw parents misbehaving. Maybe you are bullied somewhere. Maybe you lost a loved one.
Yeah.
And these things were not able to get processed properly. So the person could get into depression. So depression is a disease, but it's also a sign that there is trouble behind.
Yeah.
You know, for this thing to get to depression, there are so many things that could have triggered that depression.
Exactly.
Which we have also been trying to tackle in the social.
In
the social factors.